Jesus Christ, really?
Don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for exclusive manga content and early access. Isn't that right, Seth?
I already joined his Patreon today. Tons of great stuff on there, actually. But did you really have to blow up the city?
Yes.
Blew up the domino. You blew up the dominoes and you're laughing. Do you realize the f***ing crisis here?
And you will be next. Unless you subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications right now.
Or else what? You'll aggressively scream another man's name for several hours?
Kakarot! Kakarot!
Now, although I hope that I am not too late in having to seek out and find the creator of the Super Dragon Balls while there is still a bit of time that remains in hopes of having to be able to go and get them back, I can't help but shake this feeling of conflict that I am sensing that is now beginning to spread all throughout the multiverse that is eerily similar to the conflicts that were waged back home that now appear to be happening all over outside of Universe 7.
As our story now continues back on planet Sadala within Universe 6, as one of the elite demons known as Okkaru prepares himself in having to do battle against Kale, Cabba, and Caulifla, as with Okkaru not showing any signs of fear whatsoever, but instead having to embrace the overall situation, was when Okkaru then went on to quickly respond, "So then, the three of you want to go and stand in the way of Lord Raijin's plans of multiversal conquest, now do you? Well, alright then, Saiyans, for I will gladly go and accept this battle on behalf of my master, but just so you all know ahead of time," Okkaru continues, "don't be surprised when you later come to find out the hard way when you begin to witness your own blood turn on you for the greater good of the mission. And while you all blindly continue to stand to defend your already dying race of warriors from the inevitable, I will take what I came here to go and collect in the name of Lord Raijin and leave no stone unturned," Okkaru continues, "and so I hereby come and welcome you to go and try if you really think that you have a shot at stopping me as I am, but if you do, then you will soon come to find out firsthand on why engaging me head on like this will be one mistake that you will not live long enough to ever come to regret, Saiyan." But then, it was only just upon with Super Saiyan Cabba being shown having to be the first in engaging against Okkaru by attacking him was when Cabba went on to then quickly respond, "Yeah, well, you can keep on dreaming about this so-called plan of yours to begin with, because if there was one thing that my master Vegeta had taught me, it is that we Saiyans will never go and back down, nor will we ever allow ourselves to be overtaken and enslaved by any force of evil who seeks to destroy us. And if that means that I will have to go through you in order to see that peace among our race to be true," Cabba says, "then that is exactly what I'm going to go and do in order to ensure the survival of our people," with Okkaru being shown attempting to slash Cabba by then responding, "Is that so? Then let me go and ask you something, Saiyan, and how exactly are you so sure that you and your friends over there are going to wield enough power in putting an end to what Lord Raijin and the Dark Masters have placed into motion? For how is it that you think that you are going to be so sure of yourself, along with being sure of such pathetic power here against me, that it'll ultimately be enough to go and bring down what we demons have strived so hard to achieve?" Okkaru questions. "Oh, don't you go and worry about that one," Cabba went on to then quickly respond upon being shown punching Okkaru in the face, "because we'll go and make sure that you go and get the answers that you want the hard way once you come to see firsthand on exactly how strong we here in Universe 6 truly are, and after we go and crush you for the damage you've caused here along with the lives that you've went and ripped away from us, demon." "Well, I don't believe you," Okkaru then suddenly went on to quickly respond, "and so, since I don't believe you, I will go and ask you again, Saiyan, because now I want to know if this is truly the best that the Saiyans here of this universe have to offer. Because while you sure do appear to talk a big enough game, Saiyan, I can't help but ponder on this power that you are using here against me. For all I happen to see is a weakling who is flailing against the inevitable, because if you think that you alone can beat me as you are, Saiyan, then allow me the honors of having to put these dreams of yours to rest. To which, as Okkaru was then shown uppercutting Cabba out of his Super Saiyan form, was when Okkaru then went on to continue, as a foolish little pest like yourself, along with all those who are just like you, could never go as far as to dream of rivaling the might of where it is that beings like myself come from, Saiyan. For I just so happen to come from a world that not only goes far beyond your simple understanding of what you assume for true power to be, but with a power such as the one that you were just shown trying to go and use against me, it is only but a tiny inconvenience when standing across a far greater power, Saiyan. And very soon, sooner than you might expect actually, Okkaru then went on to surprisingly grab onto the back of Cabba's neck, you will go on to join your Saiyans in the grave once I break your spirit in half right after I go and break your body, Cabba. And once you go, then the girls will go, and once they go and join you within the grave, Okkaru continues upon being shown smashing Cabba's face on down to the ground, then all that will remain on this world will be the insects who just so happen to inhabit it, as one by one, we will go and see to it that your entire race of pathetic Saiyan warriors join you in the afterlife, and as we go on to proceed with our plans and having to tear this world apart until there is nothing left that remains. But then, it was only just upon with Cabba now being shown having to have enough in channeling his innate power and activating that and transforming into a Super Saiyan 3 was when Cabba then went on to quickly shout, "Enough of this, for you will not be given the chance to go and harm my people and shred this world into pieces more than you already have, demon! Because if you truly wanted to go and see on what the full extent of our power here in Universe 6 was truly capable of, then I'll be the first to gladly go and show you, demon. And because you kept insisting by questioning my strength along with the power that we here on planet Sadala are capable of in wielding," Cabba then went on to slide on there by responding, "maybe this ought to go and prove to you on how serious I was when I said that you weren't going to beat us. And so now this is for all of our allies that you went and slaughtered along the way prior to battling here against me," Cabba continues, "as I am going to go and make you suffer for every Saiyan life that you have went and taken away from our planet here today," as Okkaru then went on to respond, "Oh, curse that Saiyan, for it should be impossible for such a creature to go and harbor such a surprisingly incredible battle power like this, but even now this was exactly what I was hoping that would happen," Okkaru continues, "for now we will go on and see on where these creatures will stand when staring into the faces of terror itself," Okkaru continues, "and so now come forth, my bloodhounds, and feast upon this mortal's flesh, for his bones will be all yours for the picking, my creatures of chaos. And so now go and take this moment upon yourselves to go and tear that Saiyan apart limb from limb until there is nothing left but blood that remains." Whoa, and just what in the world are those things, and how in the world did he just go and call those things onto our world? Cabba then went on to then turn around by shockingly responding, "Oh, darn it, he's trying to go and outnumber me here." But then, it was only just then from out of nowhere as both Kale and Caulifla went on to insert themselves in this battle and having to even the odds between Okkaru and Cabba was when Caulifla then went on to quickly respond, "No, right now that does it, because while we went and tried to give this freak the benefit of the doubt in hopes of having him face off against Cabba all by himself without having anyone or anything go and jump in the way of having to help him, since he's going to try to call for backup, then allow for us both to go and back Cabba up during this battle so that the odds could be evenly matched against you. And so now don't you worry about having to be outnumbered here against him, Cabba, because so as long as we're here to stand alongside you in taking this monster down for everything he's done here, this loser is in for a very rude awakening if he thinks that we're just going to stand idly by and watch as he tries to overtake you by calling for backup." But then, it was only just upon with the gigantic energy blast then being shown having to make its way towards Kale, Cabba, and Caulifla was when Kale then went on to quickly respond, "Sis, look, he's going for broke because he knows that he can't beat us all on his own, and so he's trying to go and get rid of us in one foul go, and so now let us go and bring the pain right back to him," as Cabba then went on to quickly shout, "Yes, that's right, and so now let us go go and show this demon on what our power of unity is truly made of, and let us go and show both him and those whom he happens to serve under that we aren't going to go so quietly into the night without having to push back on their sick and twisted plans by showing them that we aren't going to lay down as easily as they think. But then, it was only just upon with our heroes' collective efforts and having to be shown blowing right past Okkaru's attack before having to be later shown having to acknowledge Okkaru was when Caulifla went on to then quickly respond. Yes, there we go. Now that ought to go and show him on why we aren't to be taken as fools here. So that ought to go and show that freak that we mean business here in Universe 6. And so now let us go and continue to keep the pressure on him, you guys. But then, it was only unexpectedly from out of nowhere as Okkaru was then shown gliding across their attacks and making his way ever so closer towards them was when Kale went on to then quickly respond. Wait, sis, quickly look up there above our attack. That demon is trying to use the momentum of our blast to try and go and blindside us when we least expect for him to do, and so we've got to go and grab him right now. Oh no, you don't. We don't think so, Caulifla went on to shout upon her and Kale being shown grabbing onto Okkaru's weapons. And so now hurry, Cabba. Now is your chance to go and put those animals of his down while we have this monster within our sights and preventing him from causing any more problems and putting those beasts of his down, and so now hurry! Yes, she's right, because the quicker I can go and set these demonic hounds of his aside, Cabba went on to quickly respond, the quicker I'll be able to go and finish that creature off once and for all without having any of his animalistic minions go and get in the way of our battle here against him. And so now this ought to do the trick, Cabba went on to then blast both of these demonic hounds by then quickly having to chime back in, because one way or another, whether we have to go and dedicate ourselves in giving this monster the entire day to ensure his defeat and make him pay for the lives he's taken, then we'll make sure to go out of our way and do it. And with these two out of our way, that just goes and leaves that freak to now face us all alone, just as we have intended for this to go and be. But then, it was only just within that very moment as both Caulifla and Kale were then shown having to grab onto Okkaru's weapons before Okkaru was able to actually reach them was when Kale went on to then respond, well, you'd be wrong to assume that these cowardly and underhanded tactics of yours are actually going to be enough to work here against us, because if it isn't evident by now, they won't, and hopefully now you will be able to see that firsthand as you come to find out and learn about this the hard way, demon, with Caulifla responding, and you'd better not go and assume otherwise here either, because if blindsiding us by calling upon those hungry animals of yours was something that you thought was actually going to be enough to go and get the job done here against us, then you might want to go and take a closer look at what Cabba had done to them, because now with your mutated lapdogs out of the way, that just leaves you here all alone with us, which is going to be one critical mistake that you are going to end up paying dearly for, and especially for all those who are innocent enough in having you rip their lives away from them, you monster, as Okkaru then went on to quickly respond, oh, how predictable you Saiyans are in thinking that you have already won in charging headfirst into a battle that you didn't even realize you have already lost. For you may think that your strength and your unity will save you here against me, but the truth is, Okkaru continues, is that the two of you have fallen right into my trap without you even having to know on what it is that I intend on doing. The two of you have fallen right into my trap without you even having to know on what it is that I intend on doing once I am to return back within the demon realm. For the very might that the two of you just so happened to exert was exactly the kind of mortals that I was hoping to have encountered here, Okkaru continues upon being shown pulling his blades away, as the three of you may have fought here against me very valiantly, and dare I even say had drove me back in doubting my ability to win here against you, but even now, you have all failed to go and see the bigger picture, as this battle was but a stepping stone in a far greater plan, Okkaru continues, for it is a plan that ensures that your very kind crumbles, as we will go and make sure that it will also be the very blood of your own kind that will be used as the ink which will be what writes your story to a finish, Saiyans. And so while this trap of mine wasn't designed to go and destroy you all here today if it didn't already call for your destruction, but after having to catch a glimpse of the power power that all three of you just so happen to have harbored beneath the surface when compared to many of your Saiyan brothers and sisters here, I instead had decided to go and design a new approach while engaging myself here against you, Okkaru continues, which was ultimately designed to ensure that when the right time comes for this to go and be used, that your entire race ends up falling by its very own hand, and so I must go and thank you both for lending me that very helping hand, for this will be all that I will need to ensure the destruction of your entire race, Okkaru continues, which will ironically be done by the hands of your very own, but I won't let this be our final encounter, for I will come back for you, and when I do, then not only will I go and watch as each of you are broken and beaten down and put within your places like how you're supposed to be, but I will ensure that I go and finish what was started here if you aren't already destroyed by the time I get to you, and I will make sure to put an end to it all personally. But it was only despite with all of this having to be said, as Super Saiyan 3 Cabba had went as far as to fire an energy blast directly at Okkaru, was when Cabba then went on to quickly shout, "Oh no you don't, and so now stand aside you guys, for we cannot go and allow him to escape and have him be given another chance to go and attack us like this again. And so now stop right there and face us like the warrior that you claim for yourself to be, you demon." Well, while this was fun while it lasted, Okkaru continues upon being shown having to vanish within the portal behind him. Now that I have on what the Dark Masters require, along with having to now inform Lord Raijin on exactly which of these universes' mortals are the ones to eliminate first before any of the others. Try not to go and miss me too much while I'm gone, because I can go and promise all three of you that this will not be the last time that you will go and see or hear from me ever again. And so now farewell for now, Saiyans, to which as Cabba's energy blast was then shown having to make its way and smashing directly into Okaru's portal was when a massive explosion was then seen with Caulifla responding, "Wait, what? And just what the heck is that freak talking about? Because surely he's not thinking about trying to leave so soon without having to finish this battle that was already started here now, is he? Oh no you don't, and so now come back and finish what you have started here, you coward," Caulifla continues. "And so now don't just go and tuck your tail between your legs and say, 'See you all next time,' and so now come back." But it was already too late, because with the portal then shown having to close as Cabba went on to acknowledge this overall situation with anger was when Cabba then went on to quickly respond, "Oh no, damn that monster, I can no longer sense his life energy anywhere on this planet," which only now means that he had managed to escape back within whatever realm that he went and crawled out of, Cabba says. "Oh darn it, and we were so close too, because we had him. As I know that we've had him right where we needed for him to be, and he pulled a fast one on us before we could have finished him. Oh, but where exactly did he go? Wait, hold on there," Cabba went on to then power down by approaching both Kale and Caulifla. "Are you both okay? I saw what he went and did, and although it was very strange of him just to go back and retreat the way he did after cutting you both, he also just so have happened to look very pleased by the result of having to do it, and so are you guys alright?" Cabba questions. "And so is it really that bad? Because you guys seem to be both bleeding out by a lot," with Caulifla having to then respond, "Oh damn that monster, for he went and cut us both pretty deep by using those weapons of his, but we'll be alright for the time being, Cabba, as we are only just a little on edge by what he went and just did to us," with Kale having to then chime in. "And what's even more alarming was I'm not sure that if the two of you had seen it, but after that demon had went and cut our hands open with those blades of his, he strangely enough had seemed to have taken great pride in having to make us both bleed, as if he was hoping that this would go and happen." "Yeah, well, whatever it was that he was after," Caulifla responds, "he clearly wasn't able to succeed in, but why would he then suddenly retreat back into that portal of his before he could go and capitalize on actually finishing what he came here and had started?" Caulifla questions, because none of this now is starting to make any sort of sense, with Cabba having to then chime in. "And so it is clear to us all now on what it is that we have to go and do, as we are hereby left with no other choice and must go and seek out and speak with King Sadala in regards to this matter immediately," Cabba says. "And that is simply because the two of you know just as much as I do that evil like that kind in which we have just encountered here doesn't just suddenly vanish without a trace, because we can all come to agreement in knowing that he will come back for us, and when he does," Cabba continues, "he will return with the sole purpose of wanting to destroy everything that we have built here, and so that is why we have to go and warn the king and prepare for the worst," Cabba continues, "as he is more than likely regrouping alongside his allies, and if we don't go and act quickly, then he'll more than likely catch us when we least expect for him to arrive, and we can't just go and leave that up to chance, Cabba says. And so while we still have some time that remains, we have to go and get a move on right now if we hope to go and change things, Cabba went on to then take off by then continuing. And so now let us go and hurry it up and go while we still have the time so that we can go and try to get a leg up on those demons before they are able to go and do the same thing to us. Well, he's right, Caulifla went on to then respond, and so now let us go and get a move on then too, Kale, so that we can go and regroup and form a strong plan in case that monster and his minions return. To which it was only within that very moment as Kale, Cabba, and Caulifla were then shown having to make their way hastily towards the king's castle was when Cabba went on to then reflect by responding, "Now while I may not be entirely sure on what that creature meant when he talked about having to turn our own blood against us, I'm not just going to stand around here and wait for us to find out, especially if there are more of those demons that lurk within the shadows that many of us may not be fully aware of. But it's better for us to go and take action now before he returns, and if worse comes to worse and if we are stuck without a chance of having to drive these demons back where they belong, then we will have no other choice than to go and get the right person for the job in helping us go and put a stop to these monsters once and for all. And so my only hope is that I'm not too late," Cabba says. But then, it was only elsewhere within that very moment as Whis had now finally found the location in which he was seeking out and having to speak with the creator of the Super Dragon Ball Zalama was when Whis went on to then respond, and there it is, the sacred homeworld of the creator of the Super Dragon Balls themselves. For I can't really go on to remember the last time that I came onto this world, but it's better not to waste any more time than to go and see on what can be done, Whis continues, and if the great Zalama can go and help us in having to locate and retrieve the Super Dragon Balls in time before it's too late, Whis says. And while it has been quite some time since I was last seen having to visit Zalama, if there is anyone who would have any kind of information on where the Super Dragon Balls may be, then I have no doubt in my mind that Zalama is the perfect person who would be best suited in having to give us the information that we need in getting those Super Dragon Balls away from the hands of those demons and back within our possession. And so now here goes, and let us see if this works within our favor, Whis went on to then clear his throat by then responding, "Venerable creator of the almighty and all-powerful Super Dragon Balls, I come to you during this desperate time in hopes of having a word with you in regards to an emergency situation that just so happens to involve the Super Dragon Balls," Whis continues. "For I stand here before your sacred domain with the utmost respect in wishing to go and speak with you about this, as the situation itself is dire and also happens to concern the very fabric of existence itself if the situation isn't handled in due time. For we are here without an option, and I come to you for this very purpose, as the multiverse needs your help," Whis went on to then bow by responding, "as both your brilliance and your craftsmanship have helped shape many realities along the way, but now the balance of those very same realities are at stake, and I come to your sacred world here to go and speak to you and having to seek out your guidance and intervention during this unprecedented emergency, and as I hereby ask for you to please come forward and reveal yourself as I humbly come to you with the purpose of helping the Omni Kings as well, for I am afraid that time is quickly running out, and I come to you with one final request at helping us solve this problem that we are facing before it is too late, O great and wise Zalama, for I wouldn't have gone out of my way to come here if the matters themselves weren't as dire as I had described, and while there is nowhere left for us to go and turn during these troubling times, and I hereby kindly ask for you to share your wisdom alongside with the rest of us angels who wait on your guidance, as I am here with a request that will help shape the very foundation of the future if it is not addressed here and now, mighty one." But then, it was only upon with these gigantic gates now shown having to slowly open up with an entity being shown having to exit through the other side was when Zalama then went on to quickly respond, "A matter in which you claim that just so happens to involve and endanger the Omni Kings, you say? Nah, Whis, for it has been thousands of generations since I had last heard the sound of your voice," Zalama went on to then step forward by responding, "but while your presence here is indeed a fascinating one, what could these matters happen to involve in which you speak of that directly correlates to the Omni Kings?" Zalama questions, "because while you also speak of the matters which also happens to involve the Super Dragon Balls that I have went and created," Zalama continues, "and I do not like the sound of what it is that I am hearing that is coming from you about these matters, and so I hereby wish for you to go and explain everything, for your arrival also coincides with a strange disturbance that I have felt rippling throughout the multiverse as of late, for it is but an eerie yet an unexplained surge of power that I feel pulsing within the void," Zalama went on to then reveal himself by continuing, "and as I only now can't help but wonder on how any of this ties directly back to the Super Dragon Balls, and more importantly," Zalama continues, "is how this all goes and ties back to the Omni Kings as well. And so, I must go and ask on how was it that my creations and my gift to Lord Zeno has now become the center of all of this chaos, and more importantly, on how exactly this all ties back in concerning the Omni Kings, Whis. For the Super Dragon Balls were never meant to be created as a tool of destruction or imbalance, Zalama continues upon being shown approaching Whis, but yet if they also now just so happen to be used as instruments of someone else's destruction and chaos, then I must know on everything that it is that you are able to go and tell me if you wish for me to go and locate the whereabouts of where those very orbs that you are searching for happen to be, as this was the very reason on why you have decided to come and speak to me, was it not, Whis? With Whis having to then respond, well, unfortunately, you would be correct to assume that the Super Dragon Balls are currently being misused, for we cannot happen to locate their current positions, nor could we also happen to go and locate the very source and finding out on where they might be hiding within, but I'm afraid that those who are responsible just so happen to come from the demon realm as well, Lord Zalama, for they had done away with both the Grand Minister and the Omni Kings, which is why I come to you for your guidance during these troubling times. With Zalama responding, then it was as I have feared, for they are now merely being used as weapons for a much darker purpose, but very well then, Angel, for you may go and come inside and enter into my sacred chamber, for there is much for us to go and discuss, Zalama went on to then point out by continuing, as I would like for you to go and fill me in on everything that it is that you know, so that I may go and use this information and go and figure out on where the Super Dragon Balls are being stored away within, but at the same time, we mustn't go and waste any time and do what is made available to us within this moment, as we also better make sure that it is done without having us be detected along the way, Whis, Zalama continues, and as the last thing that I need is for a war to be brought here onto my front doorstep, and so now let us go and make haste while we still have the time, with Whis responding, well, I don't really think that those who are behind this entire ordeal are gonna want to go and try to engage against an angel of my caliber without having to risk putting their lives on the line, but I actually second your assertion, as I intend on filling you in on everything that I have been noticing since the very beginning, Lord Zalama, with Zalama responding, and so you also now say that both you alongside the other angels still couldn't happen to locate the Super Dragon Balls despite having to search together either, Zalama questions, because if you and the other angels cannot detect their presence, then they are more than likely being concealed within one of the time chamber realms, which is able to massively accelerate its time factor, Zalama continues, which would also go and explain their repeated and abused usage, with Whis responding, as that would also indeed happen to appear to be the case, Lord Zalama, but while knowing that they are more than likely within one of these time chambers, even despite with this information, we just cannot seem to get a good read on which chamber they are all in, and while I can't seem to help but shake this feeling of dread that waits for us on the horizon, Whis continues, and I just only hope that we can hurry and retrieve the Super Dragon Balls quickly before it is too late, as it was only right then and there now during that moment where the Beyond Dragon Ball Super Story of the Dark Masters, the official Merno sequel, manga chapter number 23 special, then comes to a close.
Well, actually, I'll go ahead and take it from here, as I do want to go as far as to address something very important with our dear viewers at the moment. As before I go and give you the following information, if you aren't already a member of Unreal's Patreon community, then you are truly missing out on so much without you even knowing, because not only is the next episode already on the page, but if you want to support all of the manga content that you see and gain access to tons of exclusives along the way that range from a variety of different things, then we do encourage for you all to become members of our Patreon community today, for we will link everything down within the description box below and pinned comment section as well. Now, I will go as far as to say that even though I haven't seen Lord Zalama in a very long time, despite with everything that is going on within the moment, I will however say that I am very happy to have not only found him, but also now work alongside with him in retrieving the Dragon Balls from the clutches of those Dark Masters. But while we are at a race against time and hopefully being able to find the Super Dragon Balls before they can go and be used again, I can only hope that we aren't too late, since things appear to only be getting worse and worse as this unfolds. And so because of this, you do not want to go and miss out on what is about to happen coming up next. So we hope that you all enjoyed today's video. And before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up by smashing that like button on your way out, as well as also subscribing to UnrealEntGaming's channel for tons of new Dragon Ball content. So with that, we thank you all so much for watching, watching, as we'll be seeing you all again for the next one.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.